could start to work up through the send lines on the back, right? 1, 2, 3. And then once I've done all of that, but again, this is not always ideal. I like the one with the leg and the hammock better. That's why I'm going to show it to you a little bit later. From there, we could come in, bring her back around by lifting that arm. I'm first going to just give a little bit of, I like to loosen up through the shoulder a little bit before I bring her over because you're going to stretch her a little bit. So I'm bringing here, and then I'm just going to bring this arm back. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to grab hold of her ankle. I'm going to put my right foot on her hip. My left foot is on, it's actually on the hammock, but it's on her mid-ribs. I'm not going into her back. It's up on the mid-ribs. And now I can start to gently lean back and push her forward. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay. She's like sliding off. And generally we're going to pull them in and out like 3 times. She's
I have a
sliding.
question because her head's about to fall.
Yeah.
Just because I'm coming from a Thai background, I'm wondering why so many bolsters, and particularly up underneath her head.
If I didn't put the bolsters underneath her head, her head.
It's because of the hammock. Okay.
Yeah. Now to bring her back around, there's a trick. Right? So we're here. I'm going to push her foot forward and gently pull here, and then she's actually way over, so I'm going to go ahead and start to slide her in and bring her back into this position. So if she hadn't already fell out of all of that, I could push her foot forward, I could pull her, and at the same time roll her back onto her back. And I'll show you that on the floor too.
Where were your feet again?
One foot is up on the mid-ribs, up like by the shoulder blades, just underneath the base of the shoulder blade, and the other foot was on her hip, like on the back of the hip on her gluteal muscles. So it's, you're not putting it on the hip joint, you're putting it up into the base, like the pelvic area. Like not above it, not below it, but right in that meaty area. So you would do both sides in that manner, but again, we're going to talk about that again. So now you see, this has moved for her. And part of it is I have bigger bolsters, like they're thicker, and so that kind of helps with that. The other piece of the issue is that if I had her, what? No, that doesn't make sense. Okay, forget it. Sorry. Now from here, I'm going to actually bring her up to sit. Now the reason, now you can, again, I'm going to show you another way to do all of this, and for some instances it might make more sense and be better, but it depends on what you're doing, you know, what you have with you and want. So what I'm going to have you do, I'm going to help you to sit up. I'm going to grab hold behind her head. I'm going to support her on her way up. I'm going to have her lay forward into this position here. I call this dead bug. Some people call it ragdoll. Some people call it, what did you say? Oh, it's a zombie. And now I'm moving back behind her. So I can come in here, I can do any work I want here, through here. And this is nice because she's leaning forward. I can do work through the scapula. I could work, you know, if I wanted to do more muscle work. And she's pretty comfortable, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is kind of supportive. If for some reason the hammock was higher, you could always have them move back a little bit and they'll be able to lay forward. You know, if they're not able to kind of rest here, then you might have to change their position a little bit. Once you've done that work, you're going to bring yourself here. I put the balls of my feet right on in the middle of the hip there. And then I'm going to tell her, and it's nice to have a pillow, I'm going to tell her to start to lay back. And I always take, go ahead, on their way. Good, go ahead, all the way back, good. Ah, good. So now she's real comfortable. And there's where you can get into some scalp massage. You could turn their head, you could do any facial massage that you might do in your session. You could work into the neck. I love to work the neck from here. So I can come in here and just do neck and underneath the skull. This is all out of tension area. Happy pain now? Yes. And then, so now, from here, getting back into stretches. So, hands. I can come here and just lay back holding the wrists. I can push into my toes. I've got her a little on my knees, so I'm a little awkward. Bring it back down for a second. I'm just going to lift you up a half a second. Okay, come back down.
So you're both pressing on her hips and
Yeah, a
just
little bit.
gently pulling on her arms?
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha, okay.
And I can rock, look, see, I'm rocking. I do this, I don't even think I'm doing it. I'm right here. So this is nice. Maybe you can either leave them open, or you can bring the hands back. And now we can grab onto that hammock, and this is where this starts to get nice. And again, it depends on the person and the size of the person and you and all of these things, how this is gonna play out. I had a couple that I worked with recently that did my training. He was this very large guy, like tall. And then she was this little teeny petite little girl. And when they came into the class, they were doing this, and we found that he was having to bend his knees and everything in order to do this to her, and she was having to, like, almost, you know, she couldn't even get to him, and she had a bunch of pillows here and the whole thing. So you have to kind of work through it with each person, just like you would with anything, right? How you doing?
Are you not gonna do every posture with every person? Is that what you're saying? So depending on
Or
the size.
you're gonna have to figure out different ways of doing it. So that's like I
Okay.
said, she needed to do with him. I think I have pictures, we'll have to look at it. She put extra bolsters and stuff with him because it was harder for her to have him lay back and her feet to get to the hips. Or she didn't put the feet on the hips.
Okay.
Like right now, can you sit up one more time? I'm sorry. I'm gonna take the bolster out. I'm doing this. Now go ahead and lay back one more time. Good. There's no bolster. Good. Now I can push into my toes better. That bolster was kind of between my knees, and so I was having a little bit hard time. I can push into my toes, which is giving her a little more traction on the rib cage, right? See here.
Is there a point where you would, it just depending on like, because I'm also a small human,
Yeah.
height wise, like, is there a point when someone is so large that you would have to be like, I think it would be better for you to see someone else? No?
I believe there's a way to work around everything.
Just
I
'cause
really do.
I would want to make sure that like someone's getting what they want out of it.
Yeah.
So if that's not with me, I would rather like refer them
Yeah.
to somewhere else.
I mean, I actually find it easier to work, like I said, with people, not necessarily that are bigger than me, but people that are less flexible. But sometimes the bigger guys are easier because they are usually less flexible and easier to work with.
True.
But again, you have to play around with it for your body. So for my body, I kind of know what I'm trying to accomplish. So for me, it's always about what am I trying to accomplish? I'm always thinking about what am I trying to accomplish? So that ends up turning around into how can I accomplish that if I can't do it this way? So then I get another bolster or get another thing. So you might have to play with it, and that's part of the reason why I asked for, as part of this course, for you to work on 5 different people to document it, because you'll notice, even if you work on the different people in this room, you're going to have to do different things a little bit differently with each person, right? Okay. And then from here, once you've done a few of these stretches, we can start to bring her up. So I'm going to bring up the head and shoulders. I'm going to bring her up. And again, I tapped my hands, I try to keep my hands on them while I'm bringing them in and out of things. I could get back into some work here through her scapula and whatnot, or I can start to come into maybe a twist. So if we're going into a Thai massage, go ahead and sit up. I'm going to bend your elbows. I'm going to bring them and just set them right here. Go ahead and fold your legs together like Indian sit. Yep. And then I'm going to go the other way first. I'm going to bring my right leg and place it like so. And then I'm going to take my left hand and bring it around and just gently turn her this way. Okay. Now one thing I'm going to say, she's kind of leaning over because she's trying, well I don't want you to, keep leaning over. Just flop over, just slump over. Yeah, over. This is what they're going to do. You want to get them tall, right? You think about twists, you want to be long in your twist, right? You want to have that torso. So first things first, lift them up. Second thing, when you start the twist, and we're going to talk about this again in another twist, if you come down here and take either your hand or even your belly or whatever, get down to their mid-back, and then before you start the twist, just lift them up and then twist them around and embrace them with your hip, right? So now she's just elongated, that probably feels a little better. Yeah, definitely. Good. And then we're gonna go to the other side, so then I would switch it over, bring it here. Again, lifting her up and twisting her around. And then back over. That doesn't necessarily need the hammock, that's a regular Thai massage stretch. However, it's kind of nice, I mean, they're still already there and it's not gonna impede you too much, so it's kind of nice to keep it there. And you could sort of, you know, maybe throw it in and use it a little bit, but you don't wanna be pulling them with the hammock. All right, go ahead and come on up. So that's just the general beginning. What time is it?
11:38.
Okay, so we're pretty good. Let's take a couple more hammocks down and start going through that. We're not gonna get all the way through it.